Mercedes. We need to talk. From inventing the automobile and establishing itself as one of the undisputable market leaders in luxury cars, to completely alienating its core audience and severe lapses in judgment. I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and after seeing something while grazing social media, I think it's time I finally made a semi-rant about this. Mercedes-Benz appears to be completely losing the plot. I don't know why this is happening or what caused it to happen, but between trying to appeal to a demographic with highly unstable income and highly insufferable personalities, to effectively admitting that their EV strategy is bogus, Mercedes appears to be digging itself a bigger, deeper hole with every move it makes. Time for Core to examine and critique. Let's start with that all-important social media post that was the catalyst for the creation of this video. Mr. Magnus Östberg, apologies if I butchered that, Chief Software Officer at Mercedes-Benz, posted this on LinkedIn. I will quote some of the text in the post. Are you an art fan? Hashtag MBUX Collectibles is our new in-car app that displays digital art and NFT collectibles in our tech hero, the new E-Class. Customers can create a private art gallery by connecting with their personal NFT wallet, or browse a digital art exhibition curated by Mercedes-Benz AG. And if you haven't already heard, a limited edition of 1,000 Mercedes-Benz NXT Super Duckle NFTs, I feel like a boomer just reading this, already dropped. Yes, this is not a tongue-in-cheek premature April Fool's joke. This is an actual LinkedIn post from Mercedes AG's Chief Software Officer bragging about how the new E-Class can keep track of your NFTs. NFTs, people! NFTs which were a shit concept to begin with, and more importantly, NFTs that completely lost their value within months. I actually went to Mr. Östberg's LinkedIn profile to check if this wasn't actually posted in 2022 when NFTs were booming, and no, that post was made a few days before the recording of this voiceover. This voiceover is being recorded on March 1st, 2024. In other words, one of the standout features of the new Mercedes E-Class is that it can show you the JPEG image of a dog that you own. That is, the JPEG image, not the dog itself. Apart from the fact that this is severely stupid, did Mercedes just suddenly forget what sort of people buy their cars? There is admittedly the occasional crypto or NFT bro who will buy a G-Class to flex on passersby on Rodeo Drive, but this is the E-Class. The E-Class, which has almost always, historically, been purchased by successful businessmen, and no matter how tech-forward they are, don't give a damn or even want to learn what the hell an NFT is or how it works. Do you know what else most of the demographic doesn't care about? TikTok. But still, Mercedes saw it fit to give the E-Class's infotainment system a dedicated TikTok app. I think that this statistic best summarizes how me and most people feel about that. That age group doesn't care about the E-Class, and for the most part also cannot even fathom ponying up $65,000 for the new E-Class. And even if they could, they're probably gonna spend that money on a Tesla. Then there's the hyperscreen. Mercedes already has a monopoly on screen size in the auto industry, which in itself is not something to really be proud of, but it recently announced that in future models, the hyperscreen will get bigger. Listen to this. Speaking to Autocar at CES 2024, Schaffer, the chief tech officer, said Mercedes is, quote, on a trajectory where you see even more screens in the car, end quote. Yes, folks, Mercedes is on a trajectory where you see even more screens in the car. Consumers and car enthusiasts alike are very vocal in their lamenting the loss of physical controls in car interiors, and here comes Mercedes not just ignoring the complaints and the genuine safety concerns, but bragging about how the screens will only get bigger in the future models. Hate to break it to you, but safety regulations and user-friendliness are not a primary concern in the world of Blade Runner. This next one is a minor one because it is completely subjective and it's just something that I personally think, but I do have a sinking feeling that I'm not the only one. Mercedes' electric cars are ugly, and to be honest, most of their regular models aren't really lookers either. The E-Class looks kinda overstyled, the C-Class is meh, the SL-Class is also meh. The AMG GT isn't bad though, and it was actually styled by a Macedonian gentleman. Really, look it up. And the final point, Mercedes' electric car strategy. Put simply, Mercedes' relentless EV strategy has come back to bite them in the ass. Previously, Merc had committed to becoming an all-electric brand by 2030, and was quick to shill electric cars and how they are pretty much the best thing since sliced bread, and also mock the e-fuel alliance for their belief that carbon-neutral fuels could become a vital step in reducing carbon emissions the world over. According to the Rob report, Mercedes wanted half of their total vehicle sales to be comprised of EVs by 2025. That's next year. Surely you might be thinking, Mercedes' electric car sales have been excellent because of how apparently impressive the EQ lineup is, and also apparently how much range and luxury and awesomeness they offer, right? No. In 2023, Mercedes' EV sales made up just 11% of their total car sales. If you include the hybrids, that number goes up to 19%. If you're planning for half your sales to be electric cars by 2025, those are not good numbers in the slightest. Naturally, there's no reason to believe that the automaker's EV sales will go up by 39% in just 11 months. That's just not how it goes. Ultimately, Mercedes has made the decision to continue making dinosaur-powered cars even after 2030. A classic example of how celebrating yourself too early and making it seem like you know the best about what the future should be, more often than not leads to a massive reality check. I'm glad that Merc came to their senses about the EV strategy, but that doesn't address the other elephants in the room, the TikTok, the NFTs, that whole thing. You've heard the cliche of "how do you do, fellow kids" a million times before, and I'm not going to attribute these bewildering decisions specifically to that. That being said, I do think that Mercedes is showing a lapse in judgment, and I do think they need to take a step back and evaluate. Who are they really trying to sell cars to? People who actively use TikTok and NFTs are all set with Teslas, etc., and they have never, and never will be, the target audience for Mercedes sedans, or indeed most of their model lineup. The majority of the demographic who buys Mercedes doesn't want TikTok and an NFT wallet. They want what Mercedes has always been good at: world-class comfort and the bleeding edge of luxury features. I'm not saying that the current crop of three-pointed star-badged vehicles lacks those things necessarily, but Mercedes appears to be stuck in this enigma that useless additional apps in your infotainment system denote luxury, or ambient lighting that makes the car look like a shady Balkan nightclub. Mercedes needs to ramp up the market research. They won't exactly lose their most loyal customers because the Mercedes name carries weight and meaning no matter where in the world you are. But the market research needs to be amped up so that they can remember who their true core audience is and adapt their current models and upcoming models accordingly. I also have another suggestion for Mercedes in regards to one of their mostly forgotten sub-brands: Smart. You might remember the Smart car, one of the internet's favorite cars to make fun of. I actually daily drove a Smart 4.2 for quite a while, and while I can't exactly stop the internet from mocking it, it's tough to argue that it was a properly revolutionary car. Mercedes' last generation Smart car was languishing for the longest time, which is why it recently decided to revitalize the brand with a small electric crossover. A small electric crossover that you can spec with over 400 horsepower and is more than 2.5 times heavier than the original city car. Remember also, the new Smart #1 and #3, if that's how you're supposed to say their names, have almost nothing to do with Mercedes at all. Merc still owns the intellectual property, but the Smart brand is now in some ways under the jurisdiction of Geely, as they provide the platform which is built upon. Indeed, I got some seat time in a Smart #1 at the Automobile Expo in Basel. I didn't drive it, but I can tell you from sitting inside one that the interior has nothing to do with Mercedes either. While I understand that a small crossover is the quickest way, in theory, for your languishing sub-brand to turn a profit, that shouldn't be the only part of the Smart brand strategy going forwards. With cars like the new Citroën C3, the Renault 5, the upcoming Fiat Panda, the upcoming Volkswagen ID2, and if we head far east, the Wuling Hongguang Mini EV, now would be the perfect time for Mercedes to revisit the Smart formula, modernized with electric power. A car with a tiny footprint, a wheel at each corner, plenty of space inside, and perfect for the bustle of modern metropoli. I truly believe the future of electric cars mostly centers around tiny hatchbacks, so a proper Smart revival would be awesome to see. Also, put the V8 back in the C63. If BMW and Audi can do it, you can too. And that's going to be about it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of Mercedes' bewildering decisions in the comments below, and suggest ways that they can improve them. Thank you again for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter. There will be a link in the description as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.